All right, guys, we have sort of dueling stories of cancellation for you. Both of them pretty interesting, I would say, in different ways. So let's throw this Jesse Singal tweet up on the screen. Turns out Nicole Hannah-Jones of 1619 fame, her talk was canceled by a prep school because she was too controversial. So apparently what happened here is she was invited to speak to this like northeastern
like Middlesex
boarding school. Yeah, fancy place. In conjunction with Black History Month. A friend had asked her, so she said yes. She's all set to go. And then the board contacts her and is like, oh, we think it would be too controversial and might cause too much stress and too much tension. So we think it'd be better if you ultimately not come. So this is interesting for a couple of reasons. So first of all, Nicole Hannah-Jones had a whole thread on Twitter explaining her feelings about it. She wanted to make it very clear that she did not feel that she was canceled because she still has her platform, she still can write, she's still very prominent. Those are all very good points. But I think what it misses is the fact that when a controversial topic or controversial person, whether they're a left person or a right person, when those ideas and that human being are not allowed the platform to even speak, like that's bigger than just you. Because yes, you, Nicole Hannah-Jones, you do have a big platform. You do have the ability to say whatever you want to say in a lot of different formats. But the whole problem with this idea of, hey, something's uncomfortable, so we're just not going to talk about it, we're just going to censor it. The whole problem with that is, what about the person who doesn't have that platform? What does that do to the ability to have those conversations whatsoever? So I thought it was interesting. The other piece of it that's interesting, of course, is that you won't hear anyone on the right talking about Nicole Hannah-Jones getting...
Look, I despise Nicole Hannah-Jones.
Getting canceled, but that's the whole thing, is it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter whether you like the person, whether you agree with them, whether you disagree with them. The whole idea is the principle of, if someone is uncomfortable, if they're not uncomfortable, whatever, the answer isn't to censor them and make it so they can't speak at all. The answer is to engage, to debate, and to have confidence that your ideas ultimately can win the day.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I mean, I think Nicole Hannah-Jones is a huckster of the highest order, but it doesn't matter. She does, and I also don't doubt that these Middlesex high school kids are going to get plenty of critical race theory from their very liberal professors. Not. But that being said, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't hear about it. We shouldn't have a debate about it. And it's good because it pairs also very well with this New York Times piece that you actually found. Let's put it up there on the screen. And this is from MIT, where a lecturer who previously had spoken out against affirmative action and diversity programs in videos and opinion pieces. His name was, he's a geophysicist. His name is Dorian Abbott, Dr. Dorian Abbott. He was actually canceled for giving a lecture at MIT. And critically, actually very critically in this case, he wasn't even there to speak about what was going on whenever it came to affirmative action or diversity programs. He was there to give a lecture to the Earth, Atmospherics, and Planetary Sciences Department, and they canceled it for exactly the same reason, because some of the, what they claim, people of color who go to the university would have felt uncomfortable, but then whenever they canceled it, it also caused a bit of controversy. And what is the right way to handle these things? Obviously, look, in this particular case, it's so obvious. The guy is an expert on geophysics or whatever. Let him speak on that. And if you also, frankly, have a discussion between him and then also have somebody else. For Middlesex High School, you should have Nicole Hannah-Jones and then have somebody like John McWhorter or something like that, or somebody who doesn't agree. You should have them both, and people can make up their minds for themselves. That's always the way in order to handle these things. And that's why, it's happening all across. And anodyne stuff in college, I mean, who wants that? Are you better off when you're a high school student for not discussing actual controversial subjects, or even in college? Absolutely not. It just makes things worse, in my opinion. So I think that's why that this stuff really does matter.
I think Nicole Hannah-Jones, actually in her Twitter thread, said something that you might find compelling. She said, "The lack of courage in these times is so very sad." Now, true. Yeah. Totally true. But again, keep in mind that she's someone who would be on the side of censorship when it's
Very much
views
so,
that she does not agree with.
Which she has actively pushed in the past, I want to be clear.
Yes, she has. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at her timeline, she's right in on all of the latest, like, let's censor this one, let's cancel, let's deplatform that one. She's very much on that side. And so it's interesting when it happens to her, there's this whole contorting to say, I'm not canceled, and this is actually a result of these other people who are, it's this whole contortion to not actually see that this isn't just, applied to people who have views that you disagree with. This can come for you. This can come for ideologies that you support and that you think are important and that you want to be able to have conversations about. It doesn't just stay in the narrow confines that are comfortable for you, which is why, like, if this is something that you care about, which you should, if you care about free speech and you care about a society where people have the courage to have conversations that can be uncomfortable at times, but sometimes also push us forward as a nation, that's why you have to look at whether it's, the professor has controversial views on affirmative action or whether it's Nicole Hannah-Jones. You have to have one consistent principle on these things, which is what we try to do. How about that? I like that idea.
That's really what I would.
We'll host it here, guys.
Oh,
our pleasure.
I would love to see her come step in the same room as me. But we'll see. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll have more for you later. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut. Our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions. All that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.